Rising with the stubborn intention of departing her home, Emily prepares a final warm meal before gathering the necessary supplies for her journey to the hospital. Taking full advantage of the large pack she had found on the mysterious survivor, Emily makes a grim decision to slip on the bloody and foul helmet staring back at her. Acknowledging the many benefits it brought, she attempts to look past the scratched visor and pungent scent of rot as she takes her first steps into the quiet morning. Arming herself once more with one of her makeshift spears, the determined doctor retraces her steps to the police station and swallows down her rising fear. Already feeling herself tiring as she makes modest progress down the street, Emily crawls through one of the many broken windows, only to be met with a scene that threatens to shake her to her core. Stumbling across corpses stuffed in a bloody closet and a dim bathroom, the tense survivor acknowledges that she's now treading on the ground of someone's final stand. Unable to avoid picturing her own home being left in this state, a heavy wave of emotion rests upon Emily's shoulders as she eventually sinks to the floor and fights to regain her composure. Spying a massive cloud of debris rising from a distant explosion, Emily quickly realizes how truly exposed she was as the undead mindlessly shambled down the street.
Oh fuck, no! Oh shit, oh fuck, oh fuck, fuck!
Luckily able to lose the infected she had attracted, and watching the strays continue to shamble harmlessly past her, Emily focuses on calming her pounding heart and returning her attention back to the miserable task ahead. Having another one of her spears snap painfully in her hands, Emily tightens her grip around one of her knives and spots a house boarded up and surrounded by the undead. Knowing she was getting close to her limits for the day, and hoping the rudimentary barricades could provide a sliver of safety, the bloody and tired doctor sets herself upon the loitering infected.
Damn it!
Immediately able to smell the rot and decay within the home through her visor, Emily scans over yet another gruesome scene as her dry mouth breathes in the foul taste clinging to the air. Hearing the previous defenders of the home bashing themselves further inside, the bloody doctor steadies herself and summons the last of her strength.
Please, shut up.
July 26th. Writing this in a bedroom that isn't my own is affecting me more than I thought it would. Actually, everything I experienced today affected me far more than I was prepared for. I knew leaving my street would reveal only more of the mayhem that the world has descended into, but my mind was never capable of picturing the sights I was forced to see. It shouldn't surprise me, but I came across evidence of other desperate individuals fighting for their lives. The home I'm currently hiding in right now being a prime example. Mangled bodies, hobbled-together weapons, barricaded windows, the smell of death. It seems that those who were initially immune weren't prepared to go down without a fight. I suppose we can relate in that sense. For a moment today, I thought that my fight was over. Some large explosion from downtown disrupted the undead around me and created a slowly rolling sea of death. I was only able to take in the thick plume of smoke rising into the sky for a moment before the streets became infested and I had to run. My legs still ached, especially under the weight of my pack, but the pain didn't truly reach me until the adrenaline began to subside. As the day now slips away and a fragile silence surrounds me, I wonder what the source of the explosion could be. More desperate actions from the military? Neglected equipment reaching its limit? Survivors trying to fight back? As always, I want to know. But at the same time, I fear the answer will only rattle me more. Emily.
Picking up a taped-together spear she had found stashed within the home, Emily is faced with the task of confronting another bloody Mourning as she steps outside her temporary safety and stares down the dimly lit street. Wrestling with frustration and despair that came with the recognizable sound of another house alarm, Emily simply watches her mindless opponents fading off into the fog as her gloved fingers squeeze tighter around her bloody spear. Arms aching from the constant thrusting of her unwieldy weapon, the ragged survivor seeks shelter from both the fog and the blood as she slips into yet another abandoned home. Unable to relax as one of the stubborn infected throws itself against the front door, Emily grumbles into the putrid foam of her helmet and prepares to silence the diligent threat. Finally offered a moment of relief, as the once clean tiles of the kitchen are now stained with crimson smears, Emily shuts herself away from the horrors within the fog and takes her first clean breath of air since her morning had begun. Looking over a map she discovered in one of the undead's pockets, she hones in on a scribbled note that points towards a home not too far from her own, though the mystery would have to remain unsolved as her destination stood in the opposite direction. Thankful that the thick fog had begun to clear as she reaches the edge of the park, Emily briefly considers cutting through the lush grass, but the reminder of the helicopter's path caused her to hesitate. If the roar of its engines had drawn the undead to her neighborhood, then the dense trees of the park surely were occupied by the curious dead from downtown, and the thought of facing an unknown amount of them in such a confined space sent a shiver down her spine. Spotting yet another home that looked to be a hastily crafted last stand, Emily begins to wonder just how many people had been unaffected by the airborne strain. Perhaps the only reason she was amongst the living now was because she had no loved ones to shelter in place with, no one to be fearful of when they turned in their own homes.
Shit! Why has every house gotta be full of infected? It can't be puppies, or butterflies, or Brad Pitt. Shit! Oh no, oh no. Oh no!
Having drawn in the nearby infected with her surprised shout, Emily desperately scrambles about the bloody home before realizing she had no other way out. Able to feel her heart pounding at the base of her throat, she then frantically searches for a more substantial weapon before she surrenders to the necessity of facing the undead head-on. Immediately feeling relief flooding over her as she steps back out into the open, the shaken survivor learns a valuable lesson about being cornered and the potentially lethal mistake she could make in a blink of an eye. Content to hide inside when she was safe, Emily can't fully relax until she drags the littered corpses out of sight, but only then does she realize the scene she had discovered. What appeared to be the remains of a young woman held a shotgun in her hands, and while the other dead amongst the home held the evidence of buckshot, so did the lifeless woman.
July 27th. I've learned that the most lethal enemy in this new world is noise. House alarms, fucking explosions, shattered windows, growling dead, even myself. A simple yelp at the wrong time left me surrounded and truly panicked. In reality, I had faced far more concerning numbers before, but having nowhere to flee to, that scares me more than 1,000 infected. I'm once again cooped up in a house, drenched in blood and violence. One of the survivors appeared to have chosen to go out on her own terms. I hope to never see such a gruesome sight again, or feel the need to follow in her footsteps. I'd write more, but tomorrow is going to test me further and leave me exhausted. The only fuel keeping me going is the steady progress I'm making toward the hospital, however fragile that hope is. Emily.
Finding herself too disturbed and restless to sleep, Emily strikes out in an attempt to secure more suitable sticks to sharpen into spears, but ultimately has nothing to show for her efforts as the sun sinks towards the horizon. Only as she's returning inside does she consider the timber nailed over the windows, the treated lumber hopefully being far sturdier than the gnarled branches she'd been relying on. Covering her aching body in the many layers she had procured, Emily feels the true weight of all her equipment as she wields one of her fresh spears in her hands.
You've gotta be kidding me! Oh, fuck. Fuck. Come on, you rotten fucks.
Being pushed back to where she started her morning by yet another infuriating alarm, Emily ignores the exhaustion seeping into her bones as she relies on her fury to push her through the accumulated dead. Finally unable to ignore her failing body and resolve, Emily takes one last look over the bloody path she had carved and feels her heart ache with disgust and pity.
July 28th. I thought about not admitting it, but holding myself back because of some delusion that another living soul will read these words is silly. I've been crying. Not because I'm sad, not because I'm scared, but because I'm just tired. I'm tired of killing. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of being on edge every single moment of the day. And I'm tired of living, if this is what living is now. The initial surge of power and control that came with fighting the infected has waned, and now I'm left with nothing. Nothing but sorrow as I'm forced to realize how many lives have been taken from this world. I try not to think about my parents, but in the dim light of the morning, my mind eagerly twists the faces of the infected into their own, forcing me to kill them over and over again, until I'm numb. I barely made any progress today. There was another house alarm, because of course there was. Hopefully tomorrow will be more merciful. I should be so lucky. Emily.